support for SportsPage is provided by First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. By the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower floor of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. By Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy, a home-owned and operated store that listens to its customers. Whether it's a hypoallergenic formula or a new exotic vegetable, Parker strives to serve the unique needs of the area. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics. Straight ahead on our first spring edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page, we'll talk Mules baseball with assistant coach Scott Reller. The 10th-ranked Mules have a 2-game lead in the MIAA with a huge home series coming up this weekend with second-place Missouri Southern. In the second half of our show, we'll talk Jennies softball with head coach Susan Anderson. In our SportsPage Spotlights, we'll look back at UCM's 21st Annual Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. All of that and more coming up next here on our spring sports season debut of the Central Missouri Sports Page. Hello again, everybody, and thanks for watching the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. I'm Shawn Jones, and joining me to lead off this spring opening edition of the show is Columbia native, former Mules player, and now assistant coach, Scott Reller. Scott, welcome back, and thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, Jonesy.
Well, let's talk first about you. You played for the Mules, of course. You're out of Columbia. Now you're an assistant coach. How important is that, being a former player, in trying to instill in these guys the expectation and the tradition of this program?
I think it gives you a familiarity. You know, it's something where it's passionate in your heart and my heart. As far as I've been here, I went to the World Series as a player, and that's our expectation every year, is to get there and to try to win a national championship. And you know, being able to do that as a player and then being able to pass it on as a coach, it just gives me more experience as far as understanding what they're going through each day.
And of course, Coach Myers, who's normally our guest, he was an assistant coach on the 2003 National Championship team here, got his master's degree at UCM. He understands the tradition. He understands it so much that he's always looking for the next great mule, and that's what he's doing tonight as we tape this show. He is recruiting, and that's why you're with us. And we were talking before the show, Scott, I think some fans might find it interesting to note that despite the fact that you're in the middle of the season and you have all those things you have to do as a coach, you never stop recruiting, because that's the lifeblood of the program.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process, a yearly process, and you know, the junior colleges and high schools are in full swing, and we got to go see those guys play.
I know it's also interesting when you recruit, because we don't really have rebuilding years at Central Missouri in baseball. It's a step-in tradition, and when you're recruiting, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that not only do you need talented players, you need guys who have that ability and desire to win.
Right. We need to find the right guys that'll fit this program.
And you guys have done a great job with that. This team right now 19-5 overall, 14-4 and in first place in the MIAA. So Scott, I'll ask you, 24 games in, kind of give us your state of the program. Where do you think Mules baseball is right now?
Overall, we're in good shape. Obviously, we're atop the conference. This is where we want to be. We've had ups and downs. You know, haven't played to our full capability yet, but overall, our pitching's been good, offense has been good, and defensively we've been pretty solid, but obviously there's room for improvement as we move on.
Well, you mentioned it, you're 19-5. You were ranked #1 in the country at one point, ranked 10th in the nation right now, and again, it's pretty remarkable when you consider that 8 position players did not play last year out in the field for you. So a lot of new guys who weren't here last year as the team won the league, won the conference tournament, won the regional in San Antonio, and advanced to the Division II World Series in Cary, North Carolina. So it's pretty clear as we're looking at this team, it was a successful offseason in recruiting because these guys have stepped in and kept the tradition going.
Right. We don't let a rebuilding year become an excuse. We have the same goal each year, And if it's guys that have been in the program or new guys, you know, our focus is the same thing every year.
Well, again, as I mentioned, you know, last week you were ranked #1 in the country and now number 10. It was a tough week for Mules baseball. We got that #1 ranking and lost 4 of 5. I want to ask you, do you think being #1 affected this team in that A, you got everybody's best shot, B, you were on the road, and C, maybe they felt the pressure to play to that ranking?
I don't know if it was pressure or what it is. You know, they're young kids. I think part of it could have been there, but ultimately our defense didn't play best. We didn't pitch very well, and those things are going to hurt you. If we make mistakes, we played a good team and they made us pay, and anytime we do that, we're going to be in trouble.
Well, here's the good news as we sit here and talk, as I was afraid, you know, after losing 4 of 5 and going from #1 and down, oh boy, this may be a tough show, but you guys went on the road on Tuesday down to Bolivar to take on a much improved SBU team. And not only did you get 2 wins and get back on the winning track, you played extremely well as we start to look at the highlights here.
No question about it. Marshall Dean was great.
Yeah, take a look at him. Marshall Dean got the start on the mound and obviously pitched an outstanding game, a complete game for you. What was your message to him, and what was the key to his success?
The biggest thing that we talked with all the pitchers was just attacking down in the zone.
And you see it right there.
Exactly.
Obviously, you got to have a good catcher behind the dish, too. We've got one of those.
No question about it. Chase Graskowitz has been great for us this year.
There you see Marshall Dean hustling over to first base, but still a great catch out of the outfield for the out. You love seeing that as a coach, don't you?
No doubt about it. We work on that quite a bit.
There's a dandy defensive play by Oropeza, and you work on that, too. What is it you guys call that? The
PFP?
Yeah, PFP. Yeah. I know that's a big acronym that you use a lot. There's a good piece of hitting as the Mules mounting a big inning here in Bolivar at Dotson Field as we look at these highlights. And really, Scott, that was a huge key, the pitching, but the big innings. And that's something we've seen with Mules baseball for years and years.
No question. The second inning in Game 1 against SBU was big for us, getting 4 runs.
So there you see John Oropeza after that hit. He gets on base. Look at the good bunting there. Albert Solanders, that's a dandy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He's been great for us and really come on strong the last couple weeks.
You guys call it pressure baseball. You get those guys moving, and then Ben Cox from Warrensburg comes up there and gets a huge hit for you. We'll played a couple of runs on that single. The young man from Warrensburg hustles down to second as well. And what can you say about this guy? He's really performing well and his first real chance to play.
No question about it. He's been very good for us, provided big hits for us in the bottom part of the lineup, and really helped us turn over the lineup and continue to plate runs up.
There you see Coach Myers providing a little bit of information to the guys on hustling the bases, and nice bunt there and another run scored and a big inning in the second.
But no doubt.
So Gabe Thibodeau with the bunt, and now we see the Mules continuing to move the ball to the other side of the field. You love seeing those guys have the ability to take that low pitch and hit it to right. Just good hitting in this inning and really doing everything in a textbook fashion.
Exactly.
There we see a nice double for the Mules, and they continue here at the plate. And looks to be a pretty routine play over to first base, but the throw made it interesting. It moves the runner over to third, and then at this point you just need to get something to get a run in, and that's exactly what happened. So again, I know Coach Murray has to be pretty happy with the approach he saw from the hitters in Bolivar. Did you have a chance to talk to him about his feelings in this game? Yeah,
he was really excited. We'd had some difficulty. We had innings set up and struggled to get them in. And the other day against SBU, we got innings set up and were able to get that hit to drive guys in and continue to pressure them the whole day.
One thing too, I think in talking to our staff and people that were down at the ball game, this was a really focused team. They didn't like what happened last week, and I think everybody really focused in. Do you feel the same way?
No doubt about it. There was all hands were on deck. Everybody was ready to go, and there was just a different intensity level than prior games, just for the fact that we had lost 3 or 4 the last weekend.
Coach Reller joining us, assistant coach Tommy Myers on the road recruiting, and there you saw a nice defensive play by your pitcher. You're the pitching coach, by the way. You love seeing that, don't you?
No doubt.
How much time do you guys spend actually working on defense with your pitchers?
Defense with the pitchers is a daily routine. It's something that we can do. I know we've had issues with it in the past at times, but it's just a focus level thing that we work on daily.
Marshall Dean, this guy could really be a key for the Mules as we move down the stretch. Now we're going to watch an inning here where he gets hit around a little bit. I know you recall this, but what I like is he didn't let it bother him. You're going to go out and talk to him here in a minute, but he stays in the moment, stays focused, and gets out of the jam.
No question. He had a little difficulty in that inning there, but he found a way to get out of it and then came back strong the last 2 innings to finish it off for us.
So again, you see here the
pass ball will move the runner down to second base. And again, you see Marshall trying to hit the low side of the zone. As a coach, what are you talking to Marshall about right here? I
just told him his stuff was there, missed a little bit, refocus right here and hit the mitt, and that's what he did. He just simplified it, and trying to do a little too much, and we just slowed the game down for a second, and he did a great job holding it to only 1 run that inning.
Exactly, because again, we're looking at a bases loaded situation here. This could have been a really bad inning for Mules baseball, but again, when you just stick to doing the things you're taught and allow your abilities to take over, you can get out of these jams. It seems to me, Scott, and watching a lot of college baseball, it's just when a guy loses his head, makes that one mistake, it just seems to multiply.
Right, and he did a great job of controlling the failure there and coming back strong and refocusing.
And most importantly, too, I imagine you kept the momentum and you're able to carry that right over into the next inning.
No question.
Albert Salanders, we've seen him now bunt, we've seen him walk. He's hitting 400. Talk about that guy and his approach.
He's a guy that can do about anything for us. He can catch, he can play the outfield, he can run, he can bunt, he can control the bat really well, and he's been able to drive in runs for us and really doing a good job for us.
Pitcher's best friend right there, 6'4", twin killing.
Double plays are great.
Did you love those more as a pitcher or now as a coach?
I would say as a coach now.
Yeah.
They definitely relieve a lot of pressure that you're sitting in their dugout.
There's your leader, Brett Schwartz, the All-American shortstop. Again, what can you say? Hitting 400, just finds a way to get it done every day.
You can't say enough about him, and the biggest thing I've seen about him this year, he's more vocal in what he's doing and being a great leader for us.
And leadership's so important in college athletics, really, for any team, and to have a guy like Brett leading you is really important. And there you see the fly out and the good news, the happy celebration.
Always a good sign right there.
Yes, indeed, as the Mules sweep 2 in Bolivar, winning game 1 5-1. Complete game, 4-hitter for Marshall Dean. And then in game 2, it was all Mules as well, as they win the ball game 12-2. Albert Salanders drove in 3, scored 2 runs in that one. The big hit in the first one came from Warrensburg native Ben Cox. In game 2, you got some great pitching as well. Crone was on the backside of that performance for you, and obviously solid pitching all the way around in game 2.
No doubt. Jason Bell started that game for us and did a great job. His first start of the year and got us into the 6th. And Dane Crone has been good for us all year. Transfer from Parkland College and finished the game off and finished strong. He's been great in the back end of that bullpen and really solidified things for us back there.
So the Mules have a 2-game lead right now in the MIAA. Still a lot of games left to be played, and a huge series coming up this weekend at Crane Stadium, Tompkins Field. The Mules are in first in the league. Missouri Southern 2 games back in second. The Lions have been ranked as high as 10th in the country this year. They're coming in for a Friday night 6 o'clock single game, dollar hot dog night presented by Sodexo. Doubleheader on Saturday at 1, Military Appreciation Day. Get out there a little early, and there's going to be a great announcement for all of our heroes in the military right before the first pitch. All military, active and retired, and their families will be admitted free with ID on Saturday. Single game at noon on Sunday, and 3 of those games will be on 98.5 The Bar and WarrensburgRadio.com. And Scott, before you head into this 4-game series with the Lions, what are maybe the big points of emphasis? What are the things you're working with the team the most with here this week in practice?
We continue to stay focused on ourselves and what we do, and continuing to pressure the baseball, obviously pitch the ball well, and then play great defense. If we can play great defense and do that and limit their runs, we're going to be in good shape. Southern's a very good team, and we're going to have our hands full this weekend.
Tommy Myers always talks about pressure baseball. We talk about it a lot on our radio broadcast, but a lot of our fans out there may not really know what that means. What does pressure baseball mean to the Mules?
We try to stay on top of the ball, try to really keep the ball out of the air. You know, if we can put the ball on the ground and hit hard ground balls and line drives, the defense has got to make plays, and it's going to really put pressure on them. And we take pitches and work counts, and when we get runners on, all of a sudden it makes things a lot more difficult for that pitcher to handle, and it puts pressure on that defense, and we really continue to stay at them.
So that's kind of how the Mules play, and our fans know that. Southern, the opponent this weekend. Have you had a chance to scout them? Tell us a little bit about the Lions.
They're going to be a team that can really pitch. They're going to play good defense, and they're going to have a solid offense. They're off to a great start, a very good team. They're a veteran team and going to be very, very good, and going to probably be pretty similar to us in the way they try to play the game.
It's always great to have big crowds out at Crane Stadium, Tompkins Field. We played Rockhurst a couple of weeks ago on a rather warm March evening. We had over 1,000 fans at the ballpark, which was terrific. Supposed to be some good weather this weekend as well for Mules baseball. And it seems to me, Scott, in all the years I've watched the Mules, when the weather gets warmer and the crowds get bigger, the Mules seem to get better. No question. I hope that's the case this weekend.
I hope so too. I love it when the crowds show up, and that a couple weeks ago when Rockhurst came, that was great. Have 1,000 fans there for a midweek game. It was awesome.
And we mentioned Coach Myers is on the road recruiting, and I'm not going to say where he's at, obviously, but if you look at the Mules roster, and you can do that by going to our athletic website, folks, most of our team is from Kansas and Missouri. So we get big crowds too because of the fact that lots of family members are able to come and watch this team. And I've always taken that, Scott, as a point of pride. You're an alum, a former Mules player, that when we take on these teams around the country and this program that's won more games than any other college program in America since 2000, it's with guys from here, guys from Missouri and Kansas, and that really makes it special, doesn't it?
Right. When we have guys that are from around this area, you know, there's a special sense of pride of this program. They know what it's about, and it means something to them, and that's just awesome to see in those guys' eyes that, you know, they want to win because of who they're playing for, and to be at Central Missouri is just such a great honor.
We've talked about a lot of good things, Scott, and certainly this team is playing very well, especially when you consider all the newcomers, 19-5, ranked 10th in the nation, leading the league and all that. As a coach, though, in your mind, what areas, as we head towards the critical juncture of the season, still need to improve?
The biggest thing is just continuing to play with a focused, competitive level of energy every day. At times we'll be real good, but we do have lapses, and just continue to be more consistent with that. And when we do that, the way we play will help.
The other thing, too, that's changed in the last few years is the MIAA, the league. I mean, it's a vastly different league than it was maybe even 5 years ago. First of all, we're adding new teams. Second of all, there have been some coaching changes. Some great coaches have been hired. And thirdly, I think we're seeing some schools now in this league with a greater commitment to baseball. It's a challenge every game you play in this league now, which I guess in some ways is great because it prepares you for hopefully postseason play.
Right, no question. Every team in this league since I've been here 5 years ago has gotten better. They're all good, and everywhere we go it's a challenge that week, and I can tell you that it just helps us prepare us for later on down the road.
Want to give you a chance to brag on the skipper a little bit. Coach Myers again out recruiting, so Scott Reller, his assistant, joining us. You played for Tommy, you coached for Tommy. Recently won his 200th game in very short order here at Central Missouri. It didn't take him very long to get there. What is it that makes Tom Myers and his teams successful?
Well, he's determined, and he's a great leader, and everything that we do starts at the top. And he's been just a great person, a coach, and really cares about every player that comes in our program. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, because they know he cares about them, and all the players want to win for him, and they want to win for this program, and he just cares deeply about everything that has to do with Central Missouri.
Well, Scott Reller, you did a heck of a job as a pinch hitter. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Jonesy.
Coming up next on Sports Page, we'll look back at the 21st Annual UCM Athletic Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. That's next here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
Just something special, amazing about this team.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail.
I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
I choose what it means to be a change maker. I choose who to root for, who to work for, and who to care for. I choose red to broaden my world.
I choose red to discover my hidden potential.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
The big thing with the KMOS Ready to Learn program isn't just, you know, come watch our shows, but then they want you to turn it off and read a book. My source for quality children's education is KMOS-TV.
Riot!
And welcome back to Sports Page here on the Central Missouri Sports Television Network. In this segment, we shine the spotlight on the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. For a few words of welcome and congratulations to our Hall of Fame class, please welcome UCM Athletic Director and Missouri Sports Hall of Famer, Jerry Hughes. Jerry?
Thank you, Shawn. Greetings from the University of Central Missouri Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. Once again, we have a great crowd for this event and a great group of inductees. Each year as the Hall of Fame Selection Committee meets, it becomes more and more difficult to select the outstanding recipients to go into this Hall of Fame. Because over the years, you know, Central Missouri has had great student athletes, great coaching, and a lot of success on and off the field.
So this morning, congratulations. We are so honored to have you back on our campus. You are a reflection of what our current students will become, and that sets a very high bar. And so we'll celebrate with your families and your friends and your teammates. And congratulations on behalf of the entire university. Welcome back.
Without any further ado, let's meet the class of 2012. Today, we increased the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame membership to 180 individuals and 51 teams. Our first inductee for the class of 2012 is Sandy Schneider. According to her teammates and coaches, Sandy was destined to be a successful coach because she was a coach on the floor as a player, starting every game during her 2 seasons with the Jennies. She was certainly a good athlete on the floor, but she was also very smart and a leader, the glue kid who was willing to do whatever Coach Barnes and the Jennies needed. Our next inductee for the class of 2012 is Kristen Anderson. Kristen Anderson was a good high school athlete in Richfield, Ohio, but she never made it to a state high school track and field meet. However, due to her drive to succeed, dedication, talent, hard work, competitiveness, and good coaching, she became a 2-time NCAA Division II national champion and one of the most successful track and field student athletes on the track and in the classroom in UCM history. Our next inductee for the class of 2012 is Shawn Callahan. Following his career, the honors poured in. He was named the MIAA Player of the Year, the Regional Player of the Year, a first-team All-American, and the Rawlings ABCA Division II National Position Player of the Year. In his 2 seasons, he led the Mules to an amazing 114 wins and 17 losses, 2 MIAA titles, 2 MIAA tournament titles, 2 regional titles, and 2 third-place national finishes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Hall of Fame a local product who became one of the greatest players in Mules baseball history, Shawn Callahan. Our next inductee into the Hall of Fame is Michael Hicks. So in Michael's 2 seasons, the Mules returned to the NCAA tournament. They won a tournament game, and then the next season, they went to the Final Four. That 26-foot shot at the buzzer proved to be one of the biggest in Mules basketball history. The Hicks-led Mules of 05-06 finished with 24 wins. He finished 48-15 in his career. His 1,210 career points are the 4th most in program history by a 2-year player, and his 191 career 3-point field goals are just 16 shy of the all-time record, which was set by a 4-year player. Michael is currently playing professional basketball. He's playing in Poland right now, so he is overseas and obviously unable to come in today. So accepting the award on his behalf is his coach, Kim Anderson. Our next inductee into the Hall of Fame is Rachel Matakis. Rachel Matakis was a dominant player for the Jennies basketball program from 1993 to 1996, earning all MIAA honors 3 times, all region honors 2 times, and a first-team All-America honor in 1995. She was a prolific scorer and rebounder who played with great intensity and passion for the game. Rachel was just the 9th player to earn All-America honors in Jennies basketball history and one of only a handful of players in program history to earn first-team All-America honors. And we'll bring you part 2 of this Hall of Fame spotlight later on in tonight's show. But coming up next on Sports Page, we'll take a look at how the Mules and Jennies spring sports teams performed this past week, and we'll talk softball with Jennies head coach and Hall of Famer Susan Anderson. That's on the way when Sports Page continues right after this.
I choose to accomplish my goals.
I choose to follow through.
to finish my degree.
I choose a university that's convenient and close to home.
I choose Red to transfer my credit hours without any hassles.
I choose Red to graduate on time.
The University of Central Missouri Summit Center in Lee Summit has academic programs designed to help you finish your degree and discover your potential. Learn more at choosered.ucmo.edu.
When you support your PBS station, you support possibilities. You're making sure there is a source for independent voices, ideas, and perspectives. You're opening children's minds and giving everyone the chance to find inspiration from the arts, to discover more, be more. Support possibilities. Support KMOS.
Watch Season to Season Outdoors starting in January, only on KMOS-TV, Channel 6. Can I get a grunt?
You're watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
Thanks for watching Sports Page here on the Central Missouri Sports Television Network. Coming up next, we'll talk Jennies softball with head coach Susan Anderson. But first, let's look back at how the Mules and Jennies performed this past week. And we start with track and field. The UCM track and field multi-event student athletes opened their outdoor season last week in San Antonio during spring break at Trinity University, and 2 national champs led the way for UCM. Lindsay Leto broke her own school record with 5,703 points in the heptathlon. Not only did she win the event, she posted the best score in NCAA Division II. Her AQ for the national meet also earned her the MIAA Student Athlete of the Week honors. On the men's side, Darius Walker set a personal record with 7,264 points to win the event. Walker's performance was also tops in Division II and earned the AQ to the national meet as well as the MIAA Athlete of the Week honors. The Mules golf team won the Northern Kentucky Invite 2 weeks ago, shooting 6 under par as a team, and this week they faced a field of Division I and top Division II teams and finished 8th at the North Alabama Spring Classic. Joe Migdal finished in 2nd place at 2 under par to pace the Mules. The Jennies softball squad is 35 games into their 2012 season, and joining us now to talk about her squad is head coach Susan Anderson. Susan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jonesy.
Before we get into this season, I do want to go back. We're kind of having Hall of Fame night here on Sports Page. We saw part 1. We'll see part 2 a little bit later. You're a Hall of Famer for your great career here as a Jennies softball star, but I know really you were probably more emotional about this year's Hall of Fame class because your coach, Risa Summerall, went into the Hall of Fame. She had to wait 5 years, of course, from retiring as Jennies coach when you took over. What's that mean to you to see Coach Summerall back here going into the Hall? Because it was really a cool day. Lots of former players back, lots of family and friends. I know it meant a lot to you in the program.
It was amazing to come back. I'm so thankful that I took the time to fly back because, like you said, it was amazing to see how many teammates I had here, and I think it just shows how many lives Coach Summerall touched.
And obviously, she touched yours because, as you said, you went to Texas, came back, went back to Texas to be with your team.
Exactly. She's so deserving, and I'm so proud of her and her leadership, her guidance. She was a disciplinarian, but she cared so much about all of us, and I think it showed when you have, what was it, probably 15, 20 girls came back for her Hall of Fame induction. So deserving, so proud of her.
Well, let's talk about the 2012 season. I think the best way to describe it is a roller coaster. You got off to a terrific start, kind of went down, maybe now heading back up the hill. You do have 4 or 5 freshmen that are really playing a lot for you. So I guess when you play as many young players as you have, it's kind of to be expected.
You nailed it on the roller coaster ride. Not really a fan of the roller coaster ride, but I feel like we'll take some strides forward, but then we'll take a couple back. We've had some plaguing, nagging injuries, and that's something that I feel like when it's all said and done, I think with that adversity that we've been facing with having to move people to different positions and that type of stuff, we're really seeing the character of our team. So hopefully that, you know, comes into play come April.
Describe this team. One word I know I would use is fast. Obviously, you're leading the MIAA in stolen bases. How would you describe this 2012 group of Jennies?
Aggressive. It's one of those, like you said, being fast, but we got to get on the bases. And I think now, like you said, we're starting to kind of go back up on that roller coaster ride where we're starting to get runners on base because we have to get the runners on base, and that way we can advance them because we do have the speed. And I think the other thing is just that confidence. I think now we finally let go of that pressure. And I feel like hopefully now we're taking that step forward to be like, why are we putting so much pressure? Let's just enjoy the game, do the simple things right.
What are the things that you're maybe focusing on, the key areas that you want to see the improvement in to keep moving forward and keep the crescendo going throughout the season?
Biggest thing is inside the pitching circle. I mean, that's where it all starts. And that's kind of what we've told our entire team, and our pitching staff knows that. I feel like we haven't really had everything click yet. Like if we've had really good pitching, then our defense has made the errors behind them. And it's just like when it's been like the wheels start to fall off, like it's been a group effort, a collective effort. So that's one thing, at least we've got that collective effort going. Now we just have to put it in the right places. But the first place is inside that pitching circle, because I feel like now we're starting to get a little bit more confidence at the plate. We're putting runners on base. Now we just need to get those clutch hits. You just said it, because as I researched and prepared for this and have had a chance to watch your team, you're getting some hits. You're getting players on base. It's just maybe, I don't know, timing or unfortunate. You just got to bring it all together because you're now leaving them on base. It's good that they're on there. It's good that they're stealing bases and getting scoring position. We're just not getting that big hit to get them home. That's exactly it. Because early on, we were struggling at the plate. Now I feel like we're kind of taking some strides. Now we just need to start in the side of the pitching circle, continue to keep taking those steps on getting those runners on, because like down in Florida, you know, the record doesn't show it, but we really took some strides down in Florida because we were finally starting to put the ball in play. We were being aggressive on the bases, but we just need to get those clutch hits, get those timely hits, and then that's going to be the difference, because the defense is coming around now.
And the Jennies have played a very challenging schedule, which I know is something you like to do because it helps you out in terms of being prepared for the rigors of MIAA play. Of course, the league's tough, and then if you play a good schedule and you get hot at the right time, it gives you a better chance to make the NCAA tournament. This past weekend is a great example. You hosted 4 games. You hosted Northeastern State, a traditionally solid program, played very well those 2 games, got a couple wins, and then faced Central Oklahoma, who, as you see the highlights, they were number 12. They're now number 6 in the country, and I guess kind of in a lot of ways a tumultuous weekend. Saturday, you were probably the happiest coach in the country, and Sunday you weren't.
It was, with Saturday's games, it was just great to get back home. We had been on a big, long road trip because we had gone out to Hayes, Washburn, and then we went to Florida for our spring break. And so it was just nice to be back at our home field. And we had lost Northeastern State earlier in the season, so I think it was good just to see that confidence boost of, hey, we're starting to click, we're starting to put things together with those 2 wins against Northeastern. But coming up against Central Oak, we actually are one of the few teams that gave them a loss early on because they only have 3 losses. We beat them early, but they've definitely have improved since the first time we saw them, and they're definitely worthy of that national ranking.
And one thing, as we look at these highlights, there actually are a lot of highlights from the day. Really, it was the first inning that haunted the Jennies in both games.
That's one thing, like when you said to describe this team, I feel like right now it's 1 inning that's defeating us. If we can eliminate those 1 long innings, then we're going to hold all the cards in our hands, and that's something that we're trying to get through to our entire team, is that April's what you play for. You know, this is where it all counts. You know, those defeats that we've had early, we're learning from them, and we're getting stronger from it. So it's all about seeing what we're about come April.
You mentioned pitching. I want to talk about that a little bit. Again, we're looking at highlights from Sunday, the Jennies in Central Oklahoma. Gorgeous day out at South Rec. You've got a freshman that's actually pitched a lot for you, in Katie Shockley. She's got a 2.57 ERA in the circle. I know you're banking on the experience she's gaining now, making her that much better even for the next 3 seasons.
Yep, she's doing really well for a freshman. I mean, anytime that you can get a freshman coming in with an ERA in the 2 area, you'd love to see that. We would love to be giving her more innings than what she's been seeing, but she has a nagging elbow injury, and that's kind of, like I said early on, we've had lots of different injuries with different
different people like Medora West. Like some of our young people have really been stepping up, and right now she's got a knee injury and she was kind of our big spark plug early on. So.
And Susan, I know you know this, and it may sound crazy, but something about injuries are contagious. You'll see a team that has a charm season and really nobody gets hurt the whole year. But then sometimes when there's that one key injury, and you had one really before the season, they just seem to keep coming. I don't know what it is. It's weird.
It is weird, and it's one of those things as a coach you can't control them. I mean, that's something that you can't control, and that's kind of what you talk to your athletes, is to control the controllables. And right now we're just going to try to keep things simple on just, you know, catching, throwing, keeping everything simple. When you go to the batter's box, don't have a bunch of things going through your head, just see the ball, hit the ball. So just trying to, you know, bring it back to the simple things, because the small things are going to add up to be the big things later on.
There you see the results from the games against Central Oak. Now the number 6 team in the country. The Jennies, as Coach Anderson mentioned, knocked off Central Oak early in the season, but fell 5-2 in Game 1 on Sunday out at South Rec, and dropped Game 2 as well by a score of 10-2. I dug up an interesting stat. I didn't have to dig too much. Ryan Anderson helped me get it, the softball sports information director. 2 seasons ago, the weather was bad. You got off to a slow start. Your team won 18 of the next 24. Last year, you won 15 out of 17 after a little bit of a slow start. So I'm expecting any day for this team to go on another one of those runs. What is it about your program? What is it about your kids that has made this happen the last 2 years, and hopefully is about to make it happen again?
I think the biggest thing is that they're resilient, and that's something that we just try to keep telling them, that, you know, you have to stay after it. And we've kind of, like I've said before, it's that roller coaster ride where we're just right there at that corner. It's just a matter of getting that big key hit, getting the solid pitching. If we get the solid pitching, I have no doubt that we're going to be in every ball game. And if we can eliminate those 1 innings, that's going to be all the difference in the world. But I think the biggest thing is that they're just resilient. And like I said before, they're not defeated. You know, at this point, sometimes teams could just cash it in, but we're not defeated at all. Their spirits are high, and they know that there's a lot on the rest of the season. There's a lot left.
Well, and you have to be that way, I think, in softball and baseball, and even basketball to a degree, where you have a lot of games, a lot of competition opportunities. You know, for example, your MIAA record today isn't what you want it to be, but you've played 2 of the best teams in the league, not only this year, but traditionally, along with the Jennies. So those games are out of the way. Yeah. And it's not to disrespect the upcoming opponents, because there are lots of other good teams, but now you have a real chance to get on a run.
That's exactly it, and I'm loving that you have those stats from those couple of years, because now I can go back and use that to our team.
I'll give them to you after the show. Yeah.
I love it. I love it that you looked it up. That doesn't surprise me one bit. And so that's what it's all about. And I think in the past, maybe we've gotten off to a little bit of that start, and then maybe we've fallen off, where now maybe this is the perfect way to go, where we've kind of had that roller coaster ride. Now we're just going to peak hopefully at the right time. That's what April's all about. So hopefully we can get into May.
You know, I mentioned too that you play a lot of games, but they do come fast. And this weekend is an example. On Friday, you're up in the Gateway City in St. Louis to take on UMSL. 2 games, 1 o'clock, so you'll leave here at 7:15, drive up, play the games, back on the bus, back Saturday night, and then you're right back to action Sunday with a doubleheader against SBU, a conference twin bill. So it's truly a case where you've got to have a good positive outlook. You've got to feel confident, because those 4 games are almost in essence going to be played within, you know, what, 15, 16 hours of each other.
Exactly. So we're just wanting to get on that run. And I feel like what we've talked about, this team's very resilient, and they're very excited about the rest of the season. And I feel like it's a fresh start. April's a fresh start, and this is what it's all about going into the conference tournament.
The other thing is you don't have a whole lot of home games left. So you've got a doubleheader Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hopefully a lot of folks will come out, and hopefully as well your team will realize that they need to treasure those opportunities to play at home, because your teams, and really all Jenny softball teams over the course of history, have played well on their home turf.
Yeah, we definitely have played well at our home. We love being at home, and I think we've got 18 games left so far in the regular season, and 6 will be home. So if anybody can come out to watch us, we would love to encourage you to come out. It's a great squad, great team, so we'd love to have the support.
Well, you mentioned the great squad and the great team, and you know, as we were talking about Coach Summerall before we started talking about the team, obviously the thing that Reese's team's always had, and your teams now have, is not only a solid performance on the field, but amongst the nation's leaders academically. And I know you've got another team here that, I don't know what the GPA is off the top of my head, you might, but I think it's up over 3.5. I mean, just incredible student athletes in your program.
They're very dedicated, and they're here for the right reasons, and they're very dedicated on the field as well. So you can't beat that. So we just got to get everything to click at the right time.
Well, Susan, I have no doubt that it will happen. Congratulations again on seeing your coach go into the Hall of Fame. And obviously, yeah, that was a neat moment, I know, for you and the program as a whole. And best of luck. I'll give you these numbers to share with the Jennies.
I'll take those stats with me.
And we'll be talking about another one of those runs next year.
Sounds
Thanks
good.
for the chat.
Thanks, Jonesy.
In just a moment on Sports Page, we'll show you part 2 of our spotlight on this year's UCM Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That's next here on KMOS-TV.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail.
I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
I choose what it means to be a change maker. I choose who to root for, who to work for, and who to care for. I choose red to broaden my world.
I choose red to discover my hidden potential.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Hi, we're the Bacon Brothers, and PBS is important to us. My brother Michael here has composed music for the documentary series Nova, Bill Moyer's Journal, and The American Experience. Isn't that right, Mike?
That is right.
Mm-hmm. Hey, didn't you win an Emmy for writing music for one of those shows?
Yes. Have you ever won one? No. Okay. Experience you may have this year, but so far I'm the only Emmy-winning person in our family. There's also your involvement with PBS, which is a performance that you did a long time ago with a certain very beautiful young woman.
Yeah, that was American Playhouse, and it was a very, very long time ago. And I met my wife, Kira, on PBS. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, just changed my life, but nothing compared to your work on PBS. People should really check that out.
Yeah, you know, you're right.
I am?
I mean, you were great, but it's not like you won an Emmy yet.
Yeah, to hear more about my acting, you can watch me interviewed on Charlie Rose or Tavis Smiley here on PBS. Have you ever been on Charlie Rose, Mike?
Oh, he's called me a lot, but I've just been too busy.
Okay.
Well, how about we disagree? We both love PBS.
We both love PBS.
PBS is my source for engaging drama and interviews.
PBS is my source for award-winning documentaries.
You're watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
Our next inductee into the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame is Katie Tarka. I think everyone gathered here today knows of the great tradition and history surrounding Jennies volleyball. Coach Peggy Martin had many outstanding student athletes grace the court for the Jennies in over 30 years at the helm of the program. To be the best ever in any category relating to Jennies volleyball is something very special, and today, with the induction of Katie Tarka into the Hall of Fame, the greatest defensive player in Jennies volleyball history becomes the 12th Jennies volleyball player to earn UCM's highest athletic honor. Our next inductee for the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2012 is Colston Weatherington. On the football field, Colston Weatherington was a rare mix of size and speed at the defensive end position for the Fighting Mules. At 6'5", 270 pounds, he was lightning quick with great hands and an amazing burst off the line of scrimmage. He parlayed those talents into 2 All-American seasons for the Mules in '99 and 2000 before embarking on a successful professional football career with the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL and the Dallas Desperados of the Arena Football League. Today, Risa Summerall becomes the 18th inductee all-time into the coaching category of the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame. In sports, it's tempting to break down seasons and years into simple numbers and statistics. And just based on the numbers alone, Risa Summerall is a unanimous first ballot UCM Athletic Hall of Famer by a landslide. 614 wins as the head coach of the Jennies softball team for 19 seasons from 1988 to 2006. 6 MIAA regular season titles, 4 MIAA postseason crowns, 7 NCAA tournament appearances, 2 regional titles, and 2 fourth-place national finishes in 1989 and 1994. Each year in our special recognition category, we induct people into the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame who have made a major impact on Mules and Jennies athletics. Our first inductee into the special recognition category for 2012 is actually a group. The Chain Gang for UCM football that enters this Hall of Fame today has an amazing 162 years of combined service to the Mules football program and UCM. Through rain, intense heat, Cold, mud, late nights, and lightning delays, the crew of Ed Curtis, Rusty Enzer, Paul Earls, Glenn Borum, Jim Joyner, Robert Trott, and Joe Vaughn have worked the sideline, dedicating their fall Saturdays to volunteer service for the Mules football program. Our next inductee into the special recognition category of the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2012 is Marion Woody Woods. Marion Woody Woods wasn't searching for the job as public address announcer for Mules football and Mules and Jennies basketball over a quarter century ago. As a matter of fact, it just sort of found him. Woody has been known as the voice of Warrensburg for the past 45 years, thanks to his work on KOKO radio here in Warrensburg. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Hall of Fame the public address voice of Mules football and UCM basketball for over a quarter century, Marion Woody Woods. The first team we'll recognize this morning is the 1969 Mules cross-country team. Central Missouri's won 14 MIAA men's cross-country titles, establishing the top program in the conference. The 69 Mules cross-country team we're honoring today was the very first team to capture an MIAA cross-country championship in school history. They finished the year with a 10th place finish at the NCAA College Division National Championships under head coach Richard Maxwell. With us this morning are Dave Frazier, Mike Kincaid, Bob Burmeister, Carl Stahl, Chuck Beckerdite, Larry Neal, and Coach Dick Maxwell. The 04-05 Jennies exceeded all initial expectations for such a young squad. They finished as NCAA national runners-up, went 89-21, won 6 events, 17 all-tournament team awards, 5 MVP awards, 5 All-America awards, and the Coach of the Year award. And not only did the student-athletes perform well on the lanes, many also excelled in the classroom as 11 team members earned academic All-America honors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the UCM Athletic Hall of Fame the 2004-2005 Jennies bowling team. Team members with us this morning are Brianna Caldwell, Tina Peak Balser, Sarah Cox, Alicia Hefter, Samantha Swanson Lambert, Jessica Wright Prutt, and Kim Worth. Again, congratulations to the 2004-2005 Jennies bowling team. And congratulations to our 9 individuals, 1 group, and 2 teams that made up this year's UCM Athletic Hall of Fame class. You can check out video tributes to our newest Hall of Famers at youtube.com/UCM Athletics. In just a moment, we'll tell you where all the Mules and Jennies are competing this weekend as SportsPage rolls on after this timeout. For one final time this week, welcome back to SportsPage. Before we put the finishing touches on this week's show, let's run down our upcoming schedule of events so you know where to follow the Mules and Jennies. And we start with Mules baseball. The 10th-ranked Mules have a 2-game lead in the MIAA race, and this weekend they'll host the team right behind them in second place as Missouri Southern comes to town for a 4-game MIAA series. The series begins with a single 9-inning game Friday night at 6. It's Dollar Hot Dog Night presented by Sodexo. Saturday, the Mules and Lions meet in a 1 p.m. doubleheader. Saturday is Military Appreciation Day with all active and retired military personnel and their families admitted free with ID. The series concludes with a single 9-inning game Sunday at noon, and you can catch 3 of those games on 98.5 The Bar and WarrensburgRadio.com. The Jennies softball team travels to St. Louis on Friday to take on UMSL in a 1 o'clock doubleheader. On Saturday, the Gens will host SBU at 1 p.m. in an MIAA doubleheader at the South Rec Complex in Jennies Field. The UCM track and field program will take part in the Pitt State Open on Saturday. The Gens are ranked 4th in the nation, while the Mules enter the outdoor season ranked 9th in Division II. And congratulations to the Jennies bowling team. They are one of 8 teams selected to compete in the NCAA National Championships April 12th through the 14th in Wickliffe, Ohio. The Gens have been selected to the field all 9 years the NCAA has sponsored the sport. And the Mules golf team will take part in the Berry Invitational on Monday and Tuesday down in the Sunshine State in Miami Shores, Florida. And it's time now for our weekly Sports Page trivia question. Each week we give you a chance to win a prize from UCM Athletics. And this week our question is, name the majority owner of the Houston Astros that is a UCM Athletic Hall of Fame pitcher. If you know the answer and you want a chance to win a UCM t-shirt, send the answer to the address you see on your screen or email it to sportspage@kmos.org. And with that, we wrap up another edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and we invite you to tune in again next week for more on the UCM Mules and Jennies. And be sure to keep up with the Mules and Jennies on our website, ucmo.edu/athletics. Follow us on Twitter at UCM Mules and search for Sports Page and UCM Athletics on Facebook. Until next week, for our entire crew, this is Shawn Jones saying thanks for watching Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS, a broadcast service of the University of Central Missouri. Support for Sports Page is provided by Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy in Warrensburg. Parker's works hard to supply grocery staples and spices to cook Italian, Mexican, Chinese, Indian, and Thai cuisine. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience for everyone. By First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. And by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs. Campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for Sports Page is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.